Big developing news last night. It was leaked that WWE WrestleMania is headed to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for WrestleMania 43 in 2027. We've got all of the details on this leaked press release and official announcement that's shortly coming, and much more in this news update. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling, and let's begin with this massive news story that was leaked out last night with an official announcement expected imminently that WWE WrestleMania is reportedly going overseas after back-to-back years in Las Vegas, Nevada, and a new report indicates that the Showcase of the Immortals will emanate from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. According to PW Insider, citing a press release issued in Arabic, WrestleMania 43 will be held in the kingdom in 2027. Now, per PW Insider, the press release was recalled shortly after it went out, and it was apparently sent out before it was meant to be public. The outlet confirmed the story is indeed legitimate, and an announcement is coming, quote, very soon. In a since-deleted post, ex-user at MajidM60 shared a video of Turki Al-Sheikh, the chairman of the General Entertainment Authority in Saudi Arabia, seemingly making the announcement in Arabic on Snapchat. The ex-user's post, translated via Google Translate, said the announcement was indeed for the biggest WWE wrestling festival, WrestleMania, to be held in Saudi Arabia in 2027. It was reported in January that Saudi Arabia will host the Royal Rumble in 2026, and rumoured following the announcement of that premium live event was that the Kingdom wanted to host a future WrestleMania, which would be announced within the next 2 years. According to Dave Meltzer and others at the time, Saudi Arabia had been pushing to host WrestleMania for years and was willing to pay a big price to host the show. WWE and Saudi Arabia formed a 10-year partnership in 2018 with the first greatest Royal Rumble happening, and then, of course, Crown Jewel emanated from Riyadh as well. WWE has held events in both Riyadh and Jeddah, with the most recent being Night of Champions in Riyadh back in June. The report about WrestleMania 43 did not specify which of the two cities the event may be held in. As of the time recording this video, there's no official announcement by WWE or the Saudi PIF or anything like that, but the video that was leaked was legitimate. A screen grab from it can be seen on the screen right there of Turki Al-Sheikh making the announcement, and a lot of other outlets are confirming that indeed Saudi Arabia are going to be holding a WrestleMania in 2027. Now, Fightful Select's Sean Ross Sapp has reported on this as well, saying he immediately reached out to WWE in an official capacity, though they had yet to respond. One WWE higher-up said, quote, "Where there's smoke, there's fire," without outright confirming it. They claim that Triple H's comments about inspiring change this week may have prefaced an incoming announcement. PW Insider reported that there was a press release that went out and was pulled. This led to a lot of media reaching out, saying they hadn't received such a thing. But based on what Fightful were told, it was a press release in Arabic and did not go out to English-speaking media. Those that Fightful have spoken to, familiar with the situation, expect 3 events in Saudi next year with Royal Rumble and then May and November shows, as have been reported previously. Fightful say they're not sure if this has affected those plans. Saudi officials have made their desire to have a WrestleMania in the country clear since the virtually beginning of the relationship. Earlier this year, Fightful was told there had been wheels in motion to have a WrestleMania in Saudi, with the possibility of Super WrestleMania or other kinds of branding. The belief internally was that the company looking to establish WrestlePalooza branding immediately as an important deal was also a way to help spread out major global events and land more site fees and create events that locations were willing to bid on. Those that Fightful have spoken to claim there is an announcement planned for this week that was scheduled for Friday in Las Vegas. This would make sense since, of course, TKO is promoting Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez in Vegas, sponsored by Riyadh Season. Now, as far as matches that are planned for this, well, of course, WWE has had big matches in Saudi with several big names coming out of retirement to wrestle in matches at these Saudi events over the years. As I mentioned, WWE's Saudi Arabia shows, especially in the early days, became somewhat infamous famous for bringing legends back to the ring for marquee matches, such as The Undertaker versus Goldberg, the Brothers of Destruction versus Degeneration X, and much more. With now the combination of the spectacle of WrestleMania and it being in Saudi Arabia, it sounds like the event in a couple of years' time could see a lot of that taking place. Speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer reported, quote, "They have matches that they want and they're working really, really hard to get. Even though it's a couple of years, I don't know if they're going to be able to get them, but they're going to spend a lot of money to get what they want, obviously. We're talking about anyone coming out of retirement that wants to come out of retirement of big name value will be able to get a lot of money for this show. That's what they want." Brian Alvarez then said, quote, "So we're talking there's going to be Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold versus The Rock. Is that what we're looking at here?" Neither of those specific matches I've heard, but yes, Meltzer said. Some of those people will. I would presume all of those people will be contacted, and the ones who want to do it will be able to. Some may not want to do it, but the ones who have interest in doing it or any interest in a great payday, they'll be able to get on that show, yeah. So expect some big names possibly to come out of retirement for this show in 2027. Now, as I mentioned, Dave Meltzer does say that this desire to have a WrestleMania in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has been there since the beginning of the relationship with WWE. He also said, quotes, "This is Turkey Al Sheikh and they're putting up an incredible amount of money, a ridiculous amount of money. The idea is to present the most star-studded show ever, by far. Everyone, anyone, money is no object. Any name you can imagine, obviously they're going to be going after. I presume it's the only WrestleMania of that year, but when I first heard one of the ideas was to do 2 WrestleManias one year, so that way it keeps the American fans not upset about Saudi Arabia. But I think there's perhaps the deal is also that Saudi Arabia has become more and more normalized. It appears that the outrage that probably would have been there a year or 2 ago probably won't be. I hardly saw any today, but we'll see." The deal was done by August 6th because that was the first day I was told that there would be a WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia for sure. Now, he's also spoke about how actually Turkey Al Sheikh wanted this to be in 2027 as opposed to in 2028 when WWE initially wanted to have the WrestleMania show in Saudi. He said, quote, "The reason it's in 2027, WWE wanted it in 2028. They had commitments for 2027. The final boss is Turkey Al Sheikh. He's the guy with all the money in the world at his disposal. They wanted it on the 300th anniversary of the first Saudi state, and they're paying the money for it. And they have matches that they want, and they're working really hard to get." Of course, we get any more details on this in terms of matches that are expected, money that's involved, official announcements, we'll of course let you know in a future video. But let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section below. WWE WrestleMania 43 seemingly is going to be held in Saudi Arabia. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section below. Now let's go to AEW Dynamite last night, and a major heel turn took place as Daniel Garcia has joined the Death Riders. The main event of the September 10th AEW Dynamite featured a 10-man tag team match for $500,000. Claudio Castagnoli, Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and the Young Bucks picked up a victory over the AEW World Tag Team Champions Bro Dido, Katsuyori Shibata, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Samoa Joe. Post-match, there was a brawl that broke out, and Jon Moxley was in the corner. Darby Allin would emerge as he was calling Moxley out to the middle of the ring ahead of their coffin match at AEW All Out. A hooded individual then snuck up behind Darby and ambushed him. That individual later revealed himself to be Daniel Garcia. Garcia unloaded a series of punches on Darby Allin and capped off his attack by stomping Darby Allin's face against a steel chair. Garcia aligned himself with Jon Moxley and Marina Shafir and exited alongside the Death Riders. As I said, the Young Bucks, they are seemingly no longer broke after winning that money last night. But Brandon Cutler actually made a cameo on AEW Dynamite first. The Young Bucks trudged on with their normal life on Wednesday's edition of Dynamite, arriving to the catering area to eat with the rest of the roster. Instead, the Bucks ran into an old friend, Brandon Cutler. They approached Cutler with relief, saying they were happy to see somebody that loves them. Cutler didn't respond well, telling the Bucks that they suck before getting up and walking away. This was Cutler's first appearance for AEW since July of 2024 when he appeared in the Royal Rampage match on AEW Rampage. Cutler wrestled for ROH earlier this year, facing Serpentico at one of the promotion's television tapings. But as I said, the Young Bucks are no longer broke after winning that money last night. The September 10th edition of Dynamite was headlined by the aforementioned 10-man tag team match. In the end, the Young Bucks were able to score the victory for their team as Matt Jackson stacked Bandito up with a pin while having his feet on the ropes. With the win, the Young Bucks have won 3 straight matches on TV, which is a healthy sign of momentum for the ex-EVPs. They're also not broke anymore, well, at least for the time being anyway. Last night, Dynamite featured a Philly street fight involving the AEW Women's World Champion Timeless Toni Storm up against Sky Blue, and they went to war in Philly. The match started off with some riotous amount of fun, with both women hitting each other with weapons. Blue gained the upper hand after using a staple gun on Storm's butt, chest, and crotch area. After a brief commercial break, Timeless Toni Storm and Blue exchanged blows while sitting on the guardrail. Then Storm got a big pop after revealing a table full of mouse traps to the crowd. After giving Excalibur a piece of cheese, Storm was powerbombed into the table by Blue. As the match went on, Storm used an electric fly swatter on Blue. Unfazed, Blue responded by powerbombing Storm into a trash can. In the final moments of the contest, Storm crushed Blue with a large metal sign in the corner before dropping her with a Storm Zero on the chair for the victory. Now, FTR, they had an eventful night last night on AEW Dynamite. The camera crew was ambushed by the former AEW World Tag Team Champions. There was a segment on AEW Dynamite featuring Stokely Hathaway and FTR. They came out to address their opponents at AEW All Out, Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. Wheeler and Harwood went on to state they were looking for a fight and went to ringside to get in the faces of fans. As they made their way up the entrance area, Harwood and Wheeler went back and forth with more audience members. A cameraman attempted to zoom in on the action, but the cameraman got too close and touched Harwood. This led to FTR attacking the camera crew. Wheeler pushed the cameraman down and began throwing punches. Certainly, it looks like there'll be ramifications for their actions on Dynamite. The match has been confirmed for AEW All Out for the AEW World Championship. The September 10th edition of AEW Dynamite opened with a singles contest between Hangman Adam Page and Josh Alexander. After a hard-fought back-and-forth battle, Adam Page came out on top, defeating Alexander via pinfall. Following the match, Page cut a post-match promo before being interrupted by the proto-star himself, Kyle Fletcher. Eventually, Page agreed to defend the AEW World Championship against Kyle Fletcher at All Out, but on the condition that he leaves Don Callis in the back. Fletcher agreed to this stipulation. This will be Hangman's third defense of the title, which he won at AEW All in Texas back in July. Now, MJF, he's a newly married man, but he's not going on his honeymoon anytime soon. His focus is on taking Mark Briscoe out. It is official that MJF and Mark Briscoe are scheduled to clash at AEW All Out. Of course, on Saturday's episode of AEW Collision, Briscoe is going to pick the stipulation for the match against MJF. The former AEW World Champion is going to be at the show as well. A promo from MJF aired on last night's Dynamite. MJF and AEW backstage correspondent / interviewer Alicia Atout got married over the weekend. MJF stated that as he was leaving his home, Atout asked about him and their wedding and their honeymoon, and MJF told her that he'd been married to the game of wrestling long before she came into the picture. He referred to his wife as a bitch and added that he will not be going on any honeymoon until Mark Briscoe is dead. Now, he has a very busy schedule coming up because he's got filming commitments and what have you. It's pretty insane, actually, the September that he's going to have. Now, MJF recently got married. He immediately showed up at AEW Collision just to be a hater. He won't be immediately taking a honeymoon as he's maintaining a busy schedule, as I mentioned. That started with his actual wedding on September 5th. He then travelled to Philadelphia for Collision on September 6th and then flew to Winnipeg after that for work on Violent Night 2, which was just revealed by Deadline. MJF is not slated to be at Dynamite last night, although that promo did air. That was clearly filmed Saturday at Collision, as he's been in Winnipeg filming this week, but he's flying back for Collision in Philadelphia for the September 11th tapings. Following that, he flies out to Winnipeg to resume filming Violent Night 2, then flies to Mexico City to main event the CMLL anniversary event with Mystico. It doesn't end there, as he's scheduled to face Mark Briscoe at AEW All Out in Toronto, so he flies from Mexico to Toronto. Following All Out, he's back on the plane to Winnipeg, continuing his filming for Violent Night 2. So as I mentioned, he's going to be a busy man over the next several weeks. A tournament has been announced that will culminate at AEW All Out. Coming up for All Elite Wrestling is their All Out pay-per-view, and the match card is taking shape. As the last night's edition of AEW Dynamite was coming to an end, a new bout was added to the All Out lineup. There is going to be a three-way match for the AEW Unified Championship. To determine the three talents in the bout, there is going to be a tournament. Kazuchika Okada is the current champion. The matchups for the tourney are listed listed as follows. Konosuke Takeshita will be facing Anthony Bowens on the upcoming episode of AEW Collision on September 13th. Kazuchika Okada will face Michael Oku on the episode of AEW Collision this Saturday as well. And the Beast Mortos will face off against Mascara Dorada on AEW Dynamite September to Remember on September 17th. Then, of course, they'll all meet for the AEW Unified Championship at All Out. In addition to those aforementioned matches, we've got more that's set for AEW Collision on September 13th. First, just a week after their first match, FTR will face the duo of Adam Priest and Tommy Billington once again. Also, Mark Briscoe, as we spoke earlier on, will choose the stipulation for his match with MJF at AEW All Out. MJF himself is also scheduled to appear at the show. Furthermore, those aforementioned 2 matches in the AEW Unified Championship Tournament will take place. A bit of an update here on AJ Styles and his WWE status. There's been so much rumours and rumbling about his future recently. On this past Monday, September 8th episode of Raw, AJ Styles cut a promo in the commercial break, which aired in international markets, about his status in the company. Styles said he feels like somebody in WWE is trying to hold him back and prevent him from being successful. He specifically pointed out how Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson were released earlier this year, meaning he no longer has anyone to back him up. Despite the somewhat taboo nature of Styles' comments, WWE did post a promo across its website and social media with the title AJ Styles Goes Off on Monday Night Raw Officials. Now, Carl Anderson, who was mentioned, name was referenced by Styles, has given his thoughts on the situation. Speaking on Off the Ropes with Jonathan Coachman, Anderson said, quote, AJ Styles, he can wrestle as long as he wants to wrestle. He can go as long as he wants to go. The thing with AJ, he's such a family man. He's always ready to hang it up. He likes to tell us that he can sit down if he wants to. He can stay home if he wants to. He's done his thing. He's proved his point that he's one of the best wrestlers of all time to ever do this. He's proved everything that he's ever needed to prove, but he likes being at home. The question would be, is AJ gonna wind it down? Is he not gonna wind it down? Knowing AJ Styles and knowing his competitive nature, I truly believe in my heart, and we don't talk, and it's not like we don't speak a lot. It's a quick, I love you, I hope you're doing good, buddy, I miss you. I don't think, knowing AJ Styles' competitive nature, I don't think he's gonna hang it up. I heard his contract ends in February, and who knows what the truth is to any of that. I still think no matter what, whether it's with WWE or it's not, which I think it's going to continue being with WWE, I think AJ Styles is happy where he's at, and I think AJ Styles is going to continue. I really believe that. Of course, if we get any more details on that, we'll let you know in a future video. Let's talk about the ratings for Tuesday's episode of WWE NXT on the CW. Tuesday's WWE NXT drew 654,000 viewers on the CW. That's down from last week's 655,000 viewers. Of course, down just 1,000 viewers, so technically it's down 0%. It drew a 0.14 rating in the 1849 demographic, which is the same as last week's show ratings. In regards to notable sports competition, the WNBA game of the Minnesota Lynx versus Indiana Fever drew 1.034 million viewers on ESPN. The US Soccer's men's international friendly game between the United States and Japan drew 414,000 viewers on TNT, and the MLB game of Detroit Tigers versus New York Yankees drew 472,000 viewers on TBS. This time last year, the September 10th, 2024 NXT drew 628,000 viewers and a 0.19 rating on USA Network. The September 12th, 2023 NXT drew 850,000 viewers and a 0.26 rating on USA as well. And finally, we saw a former WWE name at the Ring of Honor tapings last night. Lacey Lane, of course, formerly known as Kaden Carter in WWE, competed at the Ring of Honor TV tapings ahead of AEW Dynamite at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The match will likely air on an upcoming episode of ROH TV. Lane was in WWE from 2018 to 2025, most notably teaming with Katana Chance, Kacy Catanzaro, and winning the NXT and WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. She was released by WWE in May. Of course, if we get any more details on her AEW/ROH status, we'll let you know in a future video. But there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.